And good morning, everyone. It is Friday. I cannot believe we made it. My goodness, what a week we've had. We were on pins and needles yesterday, waiting on Harmony's verdict. She got her justice. On this show, as you know, we follow every case to the end. Can't have daily updates, can't have weekly updates, but we will get to the end. Who is in here that I missed at the pre-party? Lisa A., good morning. I saw my friend Slim. Just Me's in. TGIF to you too, Tam. Hey, flip-flops. JTB has been under the weather. So has Christina. Yes, Harmony got her justice for sure. Put a 1 in chat if you were getting worried about that. Put a 2 if you thought, no, it's a slam dunk. Good morning, Snazzy. How are you? Hey, Nicey, what's going on? Yeah, we have a lot of people under the weather. The flu is crazy. I just saw on my local news, they said the ERs are full of people coming in with the flu. Not, cough due to cold, but the flu. People will say, oh, I've got the flu, but they don't really have the flu. Like OJ fakes having COVID all the time. And I'm like, OJ, you're not sick. That's, like when he jumps up here on the desk and he'll go, chew, chew, right into the microphone. I'm like, you're not sick. Get really tired of OJ making things up. It's ridiculous. We are getting ready to move, and so we have boxes all over the apartment. So had to order out yesterday. OJ got chicken nuggets. Blue Petunia said, yeah, what processed foods are all these people consuming? I know, that's true. We're going to talk about that. Because in the case of Audrey Cunningham, no child should have a predator living in their backyard. Easy to say, no child should have a rock put around them and put in the river with their pants found away. These senseless acts will stop when people do their damn jobs. It starts with the family, and people talk about the system. The system that they're speaking about is the judicial system. If mom and dad cannot watch after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids, however many, do you really expect a social worker for $45,000 a year to look after the 100 cases that they have? It's not going to happen. Forget it. The system is the family, and when the system fails, it goes downhill from there. There was a predator living in their backyard. 100%. He was going on vacations with them. Before we get to that and bring up our special guest, let's tell everyone TGIF. We have some old strangers in here. Our friend Unheard came back. Woohoo! It is Friday. Before we bring up our special guest, I want to go through some comments from previous shows. I have an entire playlist on Audrey. I want you to check out the playlists. Because, it took OJ and I a while to put those together. So please check them out. I know a lot of people were checking out the Harmony Montgomery playlist, and they were like, okay, now I'm caught up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's get to the comments. Luck says, Brooks, as much as I cannot stand your voice, I do like your passion. Thank you, Lady Luck. Have you seen the other victims speaking out? I have, and we're going to talk about that today. On one hand, I was shocked. On the other hand, I wasn't. Because when you have such an egregious crime, you know there is a trail behind it of other despicable things that someone should have been locked up for. Thank you for being honest. I will go to dialect lessons just for you. I do have a Cash App if you want to pay for it. Thank you. Texas Pup said Josh and Phil were gone weeks at a time on the boat. I don't know because I don't live there. Why was Tabitha so into Stephen? I call it grooming 101, and on the other hand, I also call it you're an idiot. They went on many trips together. She served him dinner. And it's just ridiculous. Coxlover said Tabitha is playing the victim right now. It's very telling that Tabitha, Joshua, or Phil will not speak on the news. And you are exactly right. If you're advocating for your murdered granddaughter, instead of having your second cousin once removed talking to the news, why don't you do it yourself? Grandma had custody. My understanding is because her son was out on the boat for so long at a time. And there could possibly be charges on other people. Because a conviction of child abandonment or endangerment is punishable as a state jail felony if the alleged offender abandoned the child with the intent to return, or if they leave the child in a place exposing the child to an unreasonable risk of harm with intent to return for the child, or engages in conduct that places a child younger than 15 in imminent danger of death, bodily injury, physical or mental impairment. This can yield a sentence ranging from 180 days to 2 years or a fine up to $10,000. Safe to say, Audrey was left in harm's way. As we know, her cause of death came out yesterday. Let's go through that.
The medical examiner has released 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham's cause of death, saying that she died of homicidal violence. Fox 26's Dominic Heath is live in Polk County with this update. Dominic.
Yeah, mourners are covering this community in a sea of purple. 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham's favorite color, particularly here at the Trinity River, where the 11-year-old's body was found.
I'm not nitpicking, but I do have a question. Was her favorite color really purple? Purple seems to be a convenient color when a child is missing or murdered. Oh, her favorite color was purple. Well, as we know, Summer Wells, actually her favorite color was yellow, but everything's purple for her. Mrs. White, who knew Audrey very well, said she loved red and black. Again, maybe I'm nitpicking, but if something happens to me, my favorite color is yellow. It's just a color I can't wear because it doesn't look very good on me.
Found in the water on Tuesday. And we now know, according to the Harris County ME, little Audrey died of homicidal violence, including blunt head trauma.
I'm truly blessed to have given birth to such an amazing little girl.
Even as 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham's mom tries to grieve the loss of her little girl, we caught up with her at this sunset candlelight vigil.
Hopefully with all of our candles together, it'll be bright enough, maybe she could see it.
It clearly isn't easy to understand how a little girl could be taken away so tragically. According to the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office, the 11-year-old died of homicidal violence, including blunt head trauma, and the manner of death is homicide.
Her life was cut short way too soon, but the way in which we lost her.
Audrey Superintendent Dr. Brent Hawkins says there have been a lot of tears and hugs in the hallways here at Creekside Elementary, where Audrey was in 5th grade. In fact, she's been here since kindergarten. So Livingston ISD has now formed a
Before we get to that, because they have started a scholarship fund in Audrey's name, which I think is absolutely beautiful. And I think favorite colors are important. Flip Flop said orange is my favorite color. Lisa said teal and black. Beautiful Messy Ball said purple is the color for missing persons in Florida. Spicy Housewife said grandma liked purple, so she likes purple. According to Grizzy Hood News, the father's side held a private vigil. I did see that. Pilola's mom, sorry. What color is Hello Kitty? Those may be her colors as well. She had a Hello Kitty bag that was red and black. That seemed to be the colors that she liked. So I get really damn tired in these cases when people just pick a random color off out of the crayon box and say, "Oh, that's her favorite color." Show respect.
scholarship in Audrey's name and honor.
With a kid like Audrey, we feel like that school was her safe place, and she loved school so that it's very befitting that we would have a scholarship that would live on and help other students in their education.
Little Audrey was reported missing last week Thursday after investigators say a family friend, Don Stephen McDougal, was supposed to take her to the school bus stop but never did. Take a look at this screenshot. A woman who used to be McDougal's neighbor reported this to police, saying it was late Wednesday when McDougal asked if she wanted to buy his SUV.
Late Wednesday. He was asking neighbors to buy his SUV. One person he approached, he was going to give it away. Come get it. I'll give you the keys. I'll give you the title. He was also busy doing other things. He tried to match with other women on Facebook. Look at that. Facebook dating. Located, he's looking for chatting, friendship, something casual. Located in West Livingston, Texas, 5'9", smokes often, and it says he has children. I want to know more about that. I would love to know who would procreate with him.
Detectives say it's the same vehicle certain evidence was seen in before it was found at the crime scene. McDougal is now charged with Audrey's murder.
This isn't Mayberry anymore. And so we have to change the way we think about protecting children in today's world.
Livingston ISD has counselors on hand available for students and staff. And by the way, the district's Audrey Cunningham scholarship, the amount of it will be contingent upon donations. No doubt they're going to receive a whole lot. Reporting live in Polk County, I'm Damalie Keith, Fox 26 News.
If you do happen to see someone gathering donations, the Aware Foundation has posted, let's cut off. Audrey Cunningham's funeral has been paid for in full. They, I'm assuming the family, requested donations to be sent to Texas EquiSearch. You can go to info@txeq.org, P.O. Box 395, Dickinson, Texas 77539. If you happen to see on the dirty internet people trying to raise money on behalf of the family or for Audrey, it should be, I can't say reported on YouTube. They get mad about that. Well, you know what to do. You're smart. You're very smart. Well, someone who has been nothing but a warrior to keep these people behind bars is the one and only Justin Webster, and he is going to tell you his story. We have a whole playlist, and I have a feeling you're going to be very impressed because this case hit him hard and his wife. Let's welcome Justin Webster, who has pioneered the Knight's Law in Oklahoma. Justin, so glad you are here, my friend. Love the hoodie. My favorite color, too.
I was about to tell you, you'd probably look really good in this yellow.
I bet I would. With this red hair, this mop of mine, I bet I could pull that one off. I'm going to buy one right now. So
Well,
we
thank you.
for several days. Honey Elder said Knight's Law. Hang on. Knight's Law is an excellent petition to sign everywhere. Susan, if you could put the petition in here, that would be wonderful because it's making waves. You recently went to the Capitol in Oklahoma.
Yes.
And the bills are pushing through to keep these sickos in jail.
They are. I'll just kind of sum up our little journey that we've had up at the Capitol so far, so that way everybody's kind of up to date on that. Obviously, we created the first petition, the Knight's Law petition, and that's still up on change.org. We don't really use that first petition because that first petition was to garner the attention of our state representatives here, and especially the most amazing representative politician I've ever met in my entire life, and Scott Feckgetter, picked up on that petition and really heard us out as a family and as a community in Henrietta, and knew we had to strike new laws here in Oklahoma, because what happened to my daughter and the other beautiful angels that are no longer with us since May 1st, 2023, that case was a perfect storm. Jesse McFadden used every possible loophole that he could possibly use and was able to do that and commit the crimes he did. And we are now on a quest to make sure those loopholes that are not only here in Oklahoma, but are also, there's loopholes in our country, our nation, that these pedophiles use to continue to reoffend. So Scott tried to draft a bill using another bill number last year for last session, but he ran out of time, and we discussed maybe pushing even harder this next session, which is currently going. So Feckgetter wrote a bill and has a Senate author in Todd Gallagher, and they are two wonderful politicians doing the right thing and being loud and getting other politicians and representatives to follow suit. So just a quick update. Obviously, we passed our first hurdle. I believe that was Tuesday. My days are a little jumbled. But I believe on Tuesday we went to the Capitol, my wife and I, and Brandon McConnell, who is a wonderful gentleman himself. He's a pastor at our church, who is part of our Knights Law team as well. And we went there originally to kind of discuss what to expect through committee. We were told there might be a little bit of pushback. But as soon as we got into the actual committee meeting, that meeting for us maybe took no more than 5 minutes. Scott Fettgetter sat down, kind of did a short synopsis on obviously what happened, and all the representatives that were there shook their head and obviously know the story and everything that happened, and immediately opened it up for voting. And probably within 10 seconds, the 6 out of 8 representatives that were there ready to vote all voted do pass, which is a yes vote to move it forward, and give Scott Fettgetter and Todd Gallagher a chance to amend anything that needs to be amended and get it going to the House floor or the representative floor. And that's where we're at right now. After that meeting, I went around the entire Capitol, had my flyers with me. We went to every single representative's office and every single senator's office and dropped off flyers so they know what we're trying to get. And I also stated to all of them that I'm not going to stop with Oklahoma, and we're going to continue countrywide. And I'm hoping I can garner enough support from other families, other victims, to start doing exactly what we're doing here. Now, I hear a lot of people saying they want to help, they want to support, and you get back to those people, 3, 4, 5 weeks later saying, hey, what have you done? Are you picking up that mantle or that torch and running with it? And, I really haven't had that much time yet. And we're running into that roadblock where people just, once again, think that it may not happen to them. But the sick reality of it is, as our social media platforms continue to grow, we are continuing to give these pedophiles, these sex offenders, bigger avenues to continue to push towards our kids. And with such relaxed laws on kids being on social media, it's literally an open door policy for these pedophiles to communicate and get closer to our kids. And with our Knight's Law petition, we stand to correct a lot of those loopholes.
And I think it's absolutely wonderful. And when a kid comes home from school and says, hey, can I go and hang out with my friend Lucy? I'm just using that for a name. It's a sick damn world when we have to do background checks on people. They shouldn't be in society in the first place.
But let me add to that also. A lot of parents do know what's going on out there in the real world, and it shows. As a 90s kid myself, when I was growing up, I never came inside. I was always outside. I was riding my bike around my neighborhood, not only my neighborhood, 2 miles north, south, east, west neighborhoods, and I was far away from home, out on my own with kids, and you don't see that no more. And the only conclusion that I can come to is because parents know that it's worse out there, and there's more pedophiles now than substantially than there was back then. I haven't looked at the stats, but I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is. And we're getting more and more violent crimes that keep occurring with these sex offenders, and it's just getting worse. And it's time for us parents, or anybody that just supports this, to actually really get out of your seat, get out of your comfort zone, and pick this up. Everybody's saying, oh, we need to shut down the border, we have criminals coming through, we have pedophiles coming through. They're raping, they're doing this. Well, you know what? If our government's not going to do anything about it, which they're clearly not, then let's show our government who really runs this country, we the people, and let's start enacting change now and start saving our kids now. And we can change so much if we just stand up together and push. But it's just getting people to take a day off of work, just one day. I know people got sick time. Go to the Capitol with me. Come march with me. Come help. If you live in another state, call me, get with me. Say, hey, what can I do here? The same thing of what you're doing there to make change. And I'll be more than happy to talk to people and get them motivated to start saving kids. And that's the caption of it. Like, it's either you're gonna get up off your butt and you're gonna start making change, or you're just gonna sit there and condone this and allow pedophiles to continue to do the things that happened to my daughter and our other angel kids that lost their lives that day. And same thing with Audrey Cunningham and all the other ones that continue to keep happening.
And I was speaking to you this morning about the people, that were released in Montana, and one of them is Stacy Wandra, and he's a suspect in Michael Vaughn's abduction.
Yep. And as I said, if we do not start getting out of our chairs and making change like what we're trying to do here with the Knights Law, it's going to continue to happen. We're going to see headline after headline after headline in the news. And as social media grows and we continue to just sit in their chairs and not do anything, it's going to get worse and it's going to get more violent. And we're going to wish we did something back in 2023 and 2024 when it was the prime opportunity to do it.
And I can't preach this enough. You're preaching good for all of us. You're like an Oral Roberts. Love it. Certified letters work 10 times better than phone calls and emails because they can't turn away from it.
Yes. And, or, like I said, doing what I'm doing. Go to your capital, physically go to your capital, engage with your representatives. You can walk right into their office because it's our office. They work for us. You go there and you tell every single representative that this needs to be passed. And it's not just here in Oklahoma, it's every state.
Okay, Snazzy has a question. What exactly is the Knight Law asking to change?
Well, our number one, if you want to put in quotes, kind of like what we're doing here in Oklahoma, obviously there is a lot in our petition, 13 amendments to be exact. Some of them are just accountability laws, trying to hold states accountable on following Romeo Juliet, following Megan's Law. Obviously, there's some things that we're going to have to go back maybe next session and to add on to our Knights Law bill. But as of right now here in Oklahoma, the one main thing that we're able to put on a bill right now this session, and in quotes, you want to call it the Knights Law, our number one amendment, our number one goal is to lock child sex offenders up for the rest of their life, or LWOP, life without parole. And if you go through that petition, you'll see some of the other things that we plan on hopefully getting reattached to this Knights Law bill, House Bill 3992. But a lot of those amendments aren't in this bill quite yet. So we'll have to go back either next session and try for more, especially one in smaller towns such as like Henrietta in Oklahoma. The schools are a concern to me as far as fencing and security systems. And we want to be able to make sure that every school in Oklahoma will hopefully here in the next few years upgrade their security, protect these kids, and make sure pedophiles are known within the school and are not going to the school, which keeps occurring here in Henrietta. We have some other pedophiles that continue to go on school campus and nothing's being done about it. It just takes us and word of mouth saying something to hopefully make that stop.
Make it stop, because you and I spoke about this this morning and a few days ago. Certain things that are being taught, and this is just one university, and it will get a little graphic. So, trigger warning. I don't want anyone to give themselves a hug and back out. These things are important.
New at 5:30, an Old Dominion University professor is taking a lot of heat. Alan Walker said the word pedophile shouldn't be used to refer to people who are attracted to children because it comes with a stigma.
Walker also said people can be attracted to children without acting on it. Dana Smith has more on what the professor said and the response from Walker and the community.
The controversy surrounding Old Dominion University professor Dr. Alan Walker centers around their argument that not everyone who is attracted to children will abuse.
Would you let him watch your children?
I would throw him in prison immediately. If not, and they want to continue to say it's a mental disorder, then they need to be locked up in a psychiatric hospital so they can get the help they need, because throwing them in prison is not reforming anybody and only making problems worse.
Well, Florida's already saying they can't be rehabilitated. They have to have, like you said, LWAP or death.
And I agree.
And this is being taught way more than we understand.
And that's why I'm telling people they need to stand up and stand against this. If they're preaching it in schools, then we gotta stand up together, lock arms, and march to every single state capital we possibly can to make sure that these, I'm sorry, disgusting people aren't out here in our world to hurt our kids.
Absolutely. Tanya Rodriguez, thank you for the super sticker. Jules of All Trades, she's got a huge community. She said, I shared on X and my community tab the petition because it is so important and it needs to be in every state nationwide, but it's going to take more than a day.
It is.
So people are just born with this condition.
In an interview with the Prostasia Foundation, Walker said the term minor attracted people, or MAPS, should be used to describe people who are attracted to children.
It's less stigmatizing than other terms like pedophile. A lot of people, when they hear the term pedophile, they automatically assume that it means a sex offender. And that isn't true, and it leads to a lot of misconceptions about attractions toward minors.
But not everyone sees it that way, including people on campus like Andrew Limbakis, president of the ODU College Republicans.
I'm actually thinking about planning a peaceful protest against Alan Walker.
In the interview, Walker stressed child sexual abuse is never okay. They explained there is a difference between attraction and behavior. Walker said there is no morality attached to attraction because that's something we can't help. The Prostasia Foundation's executive director, Jeremy Malcolm, agrees.
What experts like Dr. Walker are saying is that telling these people that they are inherently bad and doomed to offend is counterproductive.
Criticism about Walker's comments prompted ODU and Walker to release statements over the weekend. The statement from the university reads, "An academic community plays a valuable role in the quest for knowledge. A vital part of this is being willing to consider scientific and other empirical data that may involve controversial issues and perspectives." For their part, Walker said, "Child sexual abuse is an inexcusable crime. The goal of my research is to prevent crime. I embarked on this research in hopes of gaining understanding of a group that previously has not been studied in order to identify ways to protect children." Dana Smith, 13 News Now.
Sick AF. And that's what we're dealing with. And it is woven into our society. It's scientific, they say. They call them maps. Or mats, men attracted to minors. That is not okay. Vanilla wants to know, as a Canadian, can she sign your petition?
Of course, any support is fine. You can sign it. It's probably not going to do much. I know the Canadian laws are almost worse than the United States and wide open, and some funky stuff is going on there. But it's going to take the people of Canada to stand together, kind of like what we're trying to do here in creating a movement. And they're going to have to rally their own people to fight against their government and their president, which good luck on that.
Susan, can you put the link in again for Knight's Law? Halo corrected me. Thank you. MAP. It's minor attracted person. No. No bueno. We look at kids as kids. They're kids. They look up to us. It's our job to guide them, educate them, and protect them. That's it. And I know it really hit you hard after what happened to your daughter, Ivy, when Audrey's case came out.
As I told you prior, it's every endangerment alert that goes out, every Amber Alert, every story. My heart and my wife's heart just drop. And I feel so bad for the parents that are going through what they are, because we now know that feeling. And I hope that through all this, and I hope that it doesn't take long, but I'm hoping to start getting in communication with some of these families that have obviously similar ties, to where maybe we can start teaming up together and getting our movement really going. And this is the only way to save kids, is creating stricter laws. And if we don't, then we just stay stalemate where we are. And the pedophiles with more platforms to groom and attack, they're going to continue to get worse. So we have to stop that generational turn and nip it in the butt now before it gets worse. But it's, like I said before, it's getting people out of their comfort zone, getting people out of their daily routine. This is a movement. This is a law that should have been in place hundreds of years ago. And for whatever reason, we've just have not really done much about it, and just listened to the old federal guidelines on child sex crimes. And I think it's time we start upgrading those federal guidelines, so that way states have a better guideline to follow to save the kids within their states.
Well, years ago, these crimes were few and far between, because as we were outside playing, hiking, building forts, riding our bikes, if we didn't behave, we'd get a whooping from one of the neighbors, and then we'd go home and get it again for not behaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. Thank you, Just Me, for putting it up, because other victims of Stephen McDougal are coming out, much like after your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate that. And, as hard as this is for us and our family, my wife, my kids, we're finding that doing what we're doing, I don't want to call this part of the grieving process, or maybe we haven't even grieved correctly yet, but staying focused on making sure this doesn't happen again is what keeps us going. And as I've stated time and time again, and as you can see from my motivation and stating, oh, parents have said this before, and then they just kind of fade off and you never hear from them again. You're going to continue to hear from me. I'm going to continue to push this. And this is my life now. And I'm hoping I have thousands and thousands and thousands of people not standing behind me, but standing with me, beside me, and hopefully some people stand in front of me and help guide me through all this. But it's going to take a army of civilians within our country to start protecting our kids, because as we've seen with the movies that have come out, the songs that have come out, child pedophilia and child sex crimes is higher and deeper than we all expect. And we need to put that out in the open and start cracking down on everybody involved and come up with new guidelines, as I stated, to make sure this is a country safe for kids.
They stay locked up. I did see a comment saying, good luck. Prison's already overcrowded. Build more.
Or change other laws.
Quit keeping them locked up for pot.
Exactly. You said it, not me. There's a lot of sentences in there for things that people don't deserve to be in there right now, and I'll stand up for some of those people, because at the end of the day, if there's no room in prisons for pedophiles, then we need to create their own institutions, which if you ask me, that should already be. I mean, not that I'm turning my head away from it or anything, but when a pedophile is attacked in prison, oh well, but maybe separate them and create own government funded institutions, especially if the government and these professors want to continue to call it a mental disability, then they need to be locked up in institutions, psychological institutions that can help maybe study these individuals to see if it is something they're born with, or find out if they can be reformed. Stating that they can and can't be reformed without studying it isn't helping anybody. And if it is a mental illness that we so can't cure or have some type of mediation, then they don't need to be out in society.
No, they can't sit with us. We talk about the case of Summer Wells. And I mean, today we're talking about Audrey Cunningham and what happened to her. But obviously, cases will cross because we have a very important guest on here. His daughter, if you don't know, was murdered by a pedophile. We call it the Oklahoma Massacre. I have a whole playlist about it. And he is changing laws. He's doing the work. He's not bitching on Facebook. He's there. He's got a petition. He's going to the Capitol. He's meeting with senators, representatives. He's doing the work to make sure this never happens to another child. Jules of All Trades said this is part of the process. And she has got to be so proud of you all.
Well, I'm proud of my daughter. I'm proud of those angels up there, because I know they're here with us, and with God's guidance and strength, we're all making changes. Just because they're not here in earthly form, I know they're fighting their own fight. I know those kids wanted to live a long, happy, joyful life, and I know my daughter did, because we were giving her such a good life.
Lynn is the aunt of Michael Vaughn. I spoke about Michael Vaughn in Idaho. This is the impact you're making. She said, "We support you and we will stand next to you and help these babies."
I appreciate it because we need all the help we can get.
Eileen said, "You're an amazing dad." And you are.
Thank you.
Were you surprised when other people came out talking about Stephen McDougal, just like you probably weren't surprised when people came out about Jesse McFadden, that other people had been victimized? Because if someone gets caught, it's not the first time they've done it.
Well, I don't like to. So obviously, I knew about his prior. Or the reason why he went to prison in the first place. She reached out to us, and she's actually a part of our Knights Law team and helps us out. And then his other victim that he was supposed to stand trial for, she's part of our team as well. And we're all doing this together. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. And if I could say anything to victims that are out there that don't want to speak up and just kind of want to bury it, and just, I know it's hard. I'm not in that position as a victim to that crime, but it's time for them to have a voice. And whether they tell their story or not, or just support us and say, "Hey, it's happened to me. It's happened to me. It's happened to me." And you can go down the line, and I guarantee you there's thousands and thousands and probably millions of victims out there, men and women, that they just kind of brush it under. Well, it's time to come out. Let's show those stats that are out there that they are skewed, and that there's actually way more victims out there than perceived. And let's lock arms. Let's make a change. Let's make sure that the egregious crimes that happen to them, or the ones that aren't with us anymore, they have a voice, and we can actually finally start putting an end to it, that generational turn.
100%. Chuck Anderson said, "Brooks, the FBI profiler John Douglas says there's no changing them because it is an actual attraction, a sick attraction, so there's no reforming them." My brother-in-law, may he rest in peace, said to my husband one day, they were at that time in different areas of law enforcement. He said, "If I told you right now you could never have sex with a woman again, what would you say? You can't be attracted to one." And my husband was like, "Well, that wouldn't happen because I'm attracted to women." He goes, "That's the reason they need to be put away.
Yeah.
You can't change it." You can't change it. Well, another victim has come out of Stephen McDougal's. And please sign the petition. Please share it. At some point, it might take a year. It might take 5 years. It will make children safer.
Taking a deeper look at the suspect's past.
A woman who was targeted by McDougal as a child is bravely coming forward to share her story tonight. She is one of several people who police say experienced violence from McDougal.
ABC 13 anchor Elisa Rivas is live to walk us through the timeline here, Elisa.
Charlie, Eric, there are so many layers to this story, starting with the case prosecutors are building now. And it's hard to fathom. Don Stephen McDougal was a family friend, a person even trusted to live in a camper behind the home Audrey shared with her father's side of the family. Despite his...
Yeah, they set him up. Well, Tabitha did. Set him up. He was living in the camper behind the house. And this is not some rundown area. They live on the lake. They have a nice home. They go on vacations together.
It can happen to anybody at any moment, and that's what I'm trying to stress. And until we enact stronger laws, it will continue to happen, and it's probably going to happen more and more, and it's going to happen worse than the next.
And, the truth is, it can happen to anyone. We have to have personal responsibility, because I can say right now, this would not happen to me. This would not happen to me. There is no way this dude would be living in my backyard.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
sometimes, Brooks, sometimes they don't always look that bad. And most times, if you look at statistically speaking, it's a family member or a neighbor or somebody really close to the family.
right. You're exactly right. And you're right. He probably didn't always look that way. I've seen other pictures of him. I mean, I wouldn't bring him home with me, but that's just
Well, look at Mr. Professor in Old Dominion.
God. And that is like one of, I can't even tell you how many clips I have found of these professors talking from an educational standpoint, saying that we have to embrace their illness. I'm like, fuck, I will.
I will too, by throwing them into mental institutions so that way they can try their theory of reforming pedophiles.
You think I'm gonna embrace that? What's next? You're gonna start wanting to have sex with my cat? Get real. You're crazy. People out of their goddamn minds.
Disturbing history. Court documents don't get into what Audrey had to endure in her final moments, but they include this haunting detail. Her body was found in the water, weighted down with a rock. The rope he allegedly used was also said to be found in his SUV. McDougal's criminal history goes back more than 2 decades. Just last summer, police say he stabbed a man he did not know who was helping him jump a car battery. And tonight we are hearing also from one of McDougal's old coworkers who says McDougal attacked him when he threw him out of his home 14 years ago.
I opened the door up and told him he needed to leave, and he come at me with the knife, and I had my shotgun, and I hit him in the face with it and shut the door on him. I had no idea he was that kind of person.
McDougal was reportedly sentenced to 4 years in prison for that incident. Long before the violent attacks against adults, McDougal also pleaded guilty to enticing a child in Brazoria County back in 2007. The young victim told police he crawled into bed with her and tried to remove her pants. He did not have to register as a sex offender as part of the plea.
And we have heard that in other cases. Listen, you pull down a child's pants when you're trying to crawl into bed with them, you are an SO.
I agree. And the Knight's Law has, at least here in Oklahoma, 5 specific offenses that it's covering. Obviously, rape, soliciting. I'd have to go down the list of the 5 to read them verbatim, but it's all on the OK House of Representatives page under the bill that states the 5 specific ones that we're going after.
Goodness. And remember, these people are groomers.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm thinking with a different part of my mind. Like, oh, I wouldn't have this guy in my backyard. No way, no way, no way. But the devil is crafty.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say, oh, well, you've got to look him up. Well, you just don't go look up someone who is a nice neighbor that says, hey, let me help you unload this wood. Or, hey, let me, what'd you think about that game last week? It didn't cross your mind.
Exactly.
And they're groomers. And I believe that he weaseled his way into this family to get what he wanted. Now, I do not agree with the grandmother at all.
The victim is in her 20s now, and Audrey's murder is hitting her hard. ABC 13's Luke Jones is the only reporter to talk with her about this and is live now with her story. Luke.
And you know, Elisa, she says what happened to Audrey could have easily happened to her. I mean, total shock when she saw Don McDougal's face pop up in online posts. And tonight she says she wants to be Audrey's voice and a voice for other children in similar situations.
I'll never forget his face after that.
Carissa Davis would like nothing more than to forget Don McDougal's face.
I know he's a nasty man.
And what he did to her one night in 2007 when she was 10 years old. She was at her uncle's Brazoria County house for a family gathering. McDougal's sisters were family friends.
He came into the room that me and my cousin were sleeping in.
Davis says McDougal yanked her cousin from their bed, then got into bed with her.
Tried to take down my pants, and I immediately jumped up at that moment. I remember looking at him and saying, "Do you know how old I am?"
Davis raced for the door with McDougal in tow.
He grabbed me, and when he did, I just swung my arm and I hit him.
But now that he's been charged with Audrey Cunningham's murder, she can't help but wonder what would have happened had she not been able to fight back.
And everybody was still asleep. I mean, my uncle's backyard was woods. I mean, it could have been me.
McDougal pleaded guilty to enticing a child and was sentenced to 2 years in prison, but got credit for almost 1.5 years served. Notably, he wasn't required to register as a...
And we have heard this time and time and time again. Good behavior, good hygiene, didn't have to serve the sentence.
Yep.
You know what happens when I can't come into work or I have to clock out early? I'm held accountable. And there's normally hell to pay when I have to catch up. So why is the worst of the worst in our society given so many pats on the back and handshakes? Because our children are dying.
a sex offender and went on to face numerous other charges.
I think Brazoria County definitely failed me and failed Audrey and possibly more.
And that's reoccurring. State governments, state law enforcements, FBI, our government, they are failing miserably at protecting our kids.
I don't know if you have heard about, some protection that other SOs have. I mean, in Hawkins County, Tennessee, the sheriff's son served 1 year for horrific crimes against children.
And the people of Tennessee need to start rising up and do what they need to do to make that right.
Mm-hmm. Church lady said he's literally a walking board of warning. I agree.
Is she talking about me?
Oh, no. She's talking about Stephen McDougal.
I feel like a walking billboard to warn people too.
No, you're good. How many signatures do we have now, guys? I saw Suzanne said that we have 2 to go.
Awesome.
If someone can drop it in there again, I know Jewels of All Trade, and we want it to be nationwide. Fix these loopholes. I don't care if these freaks wash their ass good enough or not, or brush their teeth. I don't care. They get good hygiene. They knew how to behave. I learned that in kindergarten. Jules of All Trade wants to know where she can get a hoodie.
My wife actually makes them, and she has a Facebook page, and it's called Ivykins, and that's IVYKINS, Ivykins, and you can order them on there. And I actually can't wait to get done with work here because I'm going straight back home to make a bunch more because people are wanting them.
Okay. All right. Where are we on the petition right now? Because this petition could have saved Audrey and many other children. Could have saved Ivy Webster. Ivy Webster is Justin's daughter. Could have saved Polly Class. Could have saved many children if we keep these people locked up. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm in that mood right now.
This evening, court documents reveal new details about evidence investigators say they have against capital murder suspect Don Stephen McDougal in Audrey's death. Among the evidence, cell phone data and video footage were key. They used it to connect McDougal to 3 locations he traveled to. It's at 2 of these locations they found evidence. The documents also reveal Audrey died the same day she was reported missing. Right now, we're awaiting word from investigators on her exact cause of death.
Stephen Goen continuing our team coverage tonight. Stephen, evidence recovered.
Okay, this clip is a little older. We know her exact cause of death now. Blunt force trauma, homicidal violence. I don't know why it's being spread around that she was pregnant at the time. That the medical examiner has not said that. Has not said that. You know, she was in 5th grade. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just going with the facts. I don't know why people have to pepper that stuff in, and I don't know why other people run with it. What with social media bothered you the most, or does bother you, Justin?
Well, can you ask that first part one more time?
What was social media and the rumors bothered you the most, you know, at the time when it was raw and now, you know, in hindsight?
So we actually really didn't have that many rumors started from just regular civilians. You know, I was trying to do my best to hold myself together and make sure that the facts were staying out there. And that's why I was okay with doing those news interviews. Where the rumors started coming from, which became even more frustrating because it came from one of the victims' families, was the Mayo family, where they continued to spew out lies about the case, which is absolutely confusing to me because they had several of their children taken from them. But that's what prompted OSBI to send out a newsletter asking people to refrain from spreading rumors about the case. But all those rumors about the case were coming directly from the Mayo family. And yeah, and caused OSBI to have to interview them several times, at which we were stated that there was admission of false information being spread by them.
I think what upset me about them, and one of the reasons that I unsubscribed from News Nation, for one, I didn't like the way that your words were twisted. I was confused. And as I told you before, I said some things about you on the show because I was going off what they said. But I didn't think that Ashley Banfield or Jennifer Coffindaffer, you know, did, you know, your case any justice, as they're not doing Audrey's case any justice. But what really upset me is how that family made so much money from the Daily Mail and News Nation.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we discussed before this, that's our fear as the other victims' families, that they would go back out there spreading more wrong information. And I'm just hoping that us continuing our push and doing what we're doing gets the correct information out there and the facts. And there's nothing to lie about. It's black and white. A pedophile murdered our daughter, sexually assaulted her, and the state and local law enforcement knew of this gentleman, did nothing to watch him, to advise other people of his danger. Our state completely failed us. There's nothing really to lie about or to make up.
And Jules of all trade is in here right now. I mean, she can dissect, I mean, all the stuff that News Nation puts out. They might as well just change their name to TMZ, but TMZ actually has better information.
Well, hey, Brooks, I'm going to have to cut it short right here. I got to get back to work here, but I'm hoping I was able to get the information out that everybody is hungry for. And I hope to see some friend requests and some requests of how to help us and how people can help themselves. And I'd be more than able and willing to talk to anybody and get them on par with us to start enacting this change countrywide. So
100%.
tell your viewers they can reach out to us, and let's do this. Let's start protecting our kids.
All right. Well, you don't work too hard. I'll call you after the show. Did you ever find anyone around there that could help me put a pool in?
I do have one person. Yes, I can get them to you.
Okay, because you don't want me doing it. But thank you so much, Justin, for being here. You're a fantastic father, a fantastic human being, and just keep up the good fight. Everyone, let's have a round of applause for our good friend, Justin Webster. It's not going to be the last time you see him on this show. All right, Justin has to get back to work. Please sign the petition. It is very, very important. Very important. Joy said, don't forget the pool. You don't want me putting anything together. I spray painted my own driveway one time, Joy.
Covered from the Trinity River where Audrey's body was found shows how her body stayed hidden.
Exactly right, Len. Don Steve McDougal is facing a capital murder charge for Audrey Cunningham's death. And in this new criminal complaint, we are learning more about the evidence you mentioned that is connecting him to this case. In a criminal complaint, investigators say they looked at video and cell phone records that placed McDougal at 3 different areas of interest, one of which was the Trinity River near State Highway 59. Audrey's body was found there on Tuesday. Investigators say there was a large rock tied to her body with rope. It was consistent with some rope that was seen in McDougal's vehicle at a traffic stop 2 days before his arrest. Now, a closer look at McDougal's past shows he had a lengthy criminal history. In 2010 and 2019, he was convicted for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The victim from that first assault says McDougal was a former coworker who came over one night with friends.
They were drinking, and he just got more belligerent as the night went on, and we ended up throwing him out of the house, and he come back with a knife. I opened the door up and told him he needed to leave, and he come at me with the knife, and I had my shotgun, and I hit him in the face with it and shut the door on him.
Now, McDougal is being held without bond here at the Polk County Jail. He's been in custody since last Friday. He was arrested then on a separate charge for another assault.
Another assault. Well, how many people can he assault? How many children can he violate? That's the question. Until the Department of Corrections, I'm not talking about the DA this time, not talking about a sheriff, chief of police, detectives, Department of Corrections, because it goes from this hand to this hand to this hand. Think about when, you're making dinner. You have different ways of putting things together, and then you have the ultimate process, which is when it goes in the oven. Well, if you take it out too early, You got a problem on your hands. Well, we don't have a problem on our hands because we have Annie Rundown is a new member. Jazzy's a new member. Jules is gifted memberships. What's going on, Jules? Thank you. Tanya, thank you so much for the super sticker. We have a lot of gifted memberships. Welcome to the family. Let's have a celebratory. It's Raining Mims. Thank you so much for that, Bonafide. She made that. I love it. It's Raining Mims. My goodness. Now, this woman, who I would love to have on the show, I live for interviews like this, and you're going to know what I'm talking about because she is saying it like it is. She saw Stephen McDougal after, as we know now, Audrey's murder.
I saw him Thursday morning. It wasn't early morning. I want to say after 9, probably. I can't remember what he bought. I want to say it was like some change for gas.
He brought in some change for gas. Some change. I'm going to get in my purse right now. How much change do I have? Don't get me wrong. I've paid for gas with change before. Some change for gas. Nothing like sticking out like a sore thumb after a murder. I want to say it was like some change for gas. Keep it classy, Stephen.
But it could have very well even been a couple of beers.
Could have given her the change for beers. Because you know you're going to remember that if you're sitting there counting coins for someone. You want to stick out and you want to remind the cashier who you are, go ahead and bring them a roll of pennies. You piece of shit. You bring in all this change. Okay, there's 5, 10, 15, 20. Really? She said, but it could have been for a couple of beers. I'm loving this.
I just can't remember because I don't. I didn't know I was supposed to remember, but I do know that he was here because he's so ugly.
I love this woman. She should be on News Nation. I didn't know I was supposed to remember, but I do because he's so ugly. Yeah. That's going to kick him in the balls. You ugly bastard. Giving out change for beer and gas, one or the other. But I do remember him because he's so ugly. Oh, look, I got to find this woman.
No, I was supposed to remember. But I do know that he was here because he's so ugly. And I mean, it's a face you don't forget.
So you say it was after the fact, after you realized that this guy's involved with this situation, that it.
See, if I was a news reporter, like an actual one, this is the job that I would have. I would spend all day at the convenience stores. I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't leave. I would be at every Quick Mart, Quick Trip. I'm telling you, the Sinclair with the big dinosaur outside, I would be like, what did you see? Did he get the nachos with the cheese not heated up? Did he happen to get a hot dog that's been in the deep freeze for a long time and he heated up microwave and the plastic bag blew up? If it's a 7-Eleven, did he mix the cola with the cherry? I mean, I need to know these things. Paid for gas with change and then maybe a couple of beers. Other days, you know what? I wouldn't judge that, but today's not the day.
And I mean, it's a face you don't forget.
So you say it was after the fact, after you realized that this guy's involved with this situation, that it clicked. What made you remember him being in front of your counter?
When I saw his mugshot, when he was a person of interest, when like Thursday night, Friday morning, when they put his picture on Facebook.
What was it that was like, I know that guy?
His tattoos and his ugly face.
That's what
His
gave it away.
hair, yeah, his hair.
She is freaking golden. His tattoos and his ugly face. This woman she says it like it is. She's worse than my granny when she was alive. She would just come right out and say, ugly, ugly, ugly. When people would invite Granny to a baby shower, it was horrible. Because at that time, when someone had a baby, the baby was at a baby shower. And if that baby had one thing wrong with it, a cone head or anything, she'd go, oh, that sure there is a baby. And she'd just walk away. And that was Granny's way of saying, that's an ugly baby. His tattoos and his ugly face. This needs a Pulitzer Prize.
Put his picture on Facebook.
What was it that was like, I know that guy?
His tattoos and his ugly face.
That's what
His
gave it
hair,
away.
yeah, his hair.
And was he alone? Was he with anybody?
He was by himself.
Was he acting weird? Anything give you a vibe that's like, this guy's up to something?
No, no.
Did you call the police, let them know he was here?
Yes, I did.
And what did they do?
They came right over here and wanted to look at the cameras. They responded within probably 10 to 15 minutes of me calling.
Any luck on the cameras?
I don't know. I have no idea. I wasn't here. It was my day off that day.
Don't fuck with Leslie. That was her day off. She knows he's ugly. He's got tattoos. He paid for gas or beer with change. It was her day off. She did the right thing. She called. But when it's her day off, don't be messing with her. Hell no. But thank you for doing the right thing. Thank you. More people should.
Yes, I did.
And what did they do?
They came right over here and wanted to look at the cameras. They responded within probably 10 to 15 minutes of me calling.
Any luck on the cameras?
I don't know. I have no idea. I wasn't here. It was my day off that day.
Did you feel a need to say something, to do something, knowing that there's a little girl at stake?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. My daughter knows the mama. So, and we've known the little girl when she was smaller. Haven't seen her here lately, but yeah.
Anything else you had in there? Anything else that stuck out to you?
He's just evil, I guess. We just need her back. One way or another, we need her.
I vote Leslie for mayor. He's just ugly. He's just ugly. He's counting out change for gas and beer. He's just ugly. Then it turns into he's just evil. Good for you, Leslie. Who would vote Leslie for mayor? Because I would. She has to run that whole quickie mart. She's fighting crime. refilling the cheese machine, keeping the place clean. I mean, she is law and order. I'm all about it, and I'm not even making fun of her. She tells it like it is. This is absolutely crazy. I mean, he was hiding in plain sight. Well, a town not too far from where Audrey was murdered, Houston. And this is going on in many, many areas.
Our investigative reporter Mario Diaz has been following closely thousands of Houston Police Department sexual cases being suspended.
Mario spoke to Mayor John Whitmire about the issue yesterday, and after days of silence, Chief Troy Finner held a news conference today revealing more bombshells. The biggest two, over 4,000 sex assault cases were suspended, and he's known of the practice for quite some time.
In November of 2021 was the first time I ever heard of a case management system code labeled as suspended lack of personnel. At that time.
Well, now, why would that happen? This is the chief. This is the chief in Houston, and he's had it. He's had it with the DA. He's had it with all the powers that be. He's trying to do his job. And they're suspending sexual assault cases. I promise I'm going to hone all this in. It's going to wrap right back to Audrey. I promise it will make sense. They're told, not just in Houston, but in other areas, suspend these cases due to lack of personnel. You got to be kidding me.
Time, I directed Special Victims Division to stop using this code.
What steps did you take in 2021 to investigate these cases that had been suspended?
That's part of the investigation, but let me answer this one question. We added additional investigators in 2018. We added additional investigators in 2021. I just want to say and tell you this, and the public, this one thing. Don't think that that was the only conversation I had. Oh, just stop this and not do anything else. That is part of my ID investigation, and that's why I'm in on that question. Go ahead if you got another one.
Did those steps involve informing the female victims who had been sexually assaulted in 2021?
I'm not going to discuss that.
Why the push in 2024 to try to find out all the information about this when you knew about this in 2021?
Knew about what?
You indicated you knew these cases were being suspended in 2021.
And I also told you I didn't go into the whole conversation of what happened after that.
But you're saying now, 3 years later, you're doing a significant push.
I'm done with that line of questioning. If you want to go somewhere else, I want to say it respectfully. Let's. If you got more questions of somebody else,
Houstonians are going to be wondering why, sir.
Yeah.
Finner says the staff has been upped with 32 new officers in the last few weeks since learning the practice continued under his watch. Again, this all happened only recently. And remember, Chief Finner did not alert Houstonians in November of 2021 when he learned the first time this was happening, only coming clean last Friday. Why should women in the city of Houston trust and respect you, knowing that this has been going on under your watch?
I think I've been here much longer than you, and we're not going to make anything personal. People know my heart. And they know me, and they know when I say something, I'm going to do it. You've never seen, and you've been in a lot of cities, this kind of assimilation of so many different investigators, this quick and moving that fast. But next question.
Chief, you've been a part of this department how many years?
34, just about 34.
Is today the darkest day for you in this department?
It's a dark day.
How concerned are you about the mayor holding you accountable on this?
The mayor don't have to hold me accountable. Troy Finner, first of all, has always held itself accountable. But accountability, yes, I am accountable for the entire department.
Too bad George Soros funded your DA's campaign. And with that going forward, you lost a lot of officers. And it just goes on and it goes on and it goes on. It's crazy. You know, I mean, that is the problem. Sorry. I'm sorry to say it. You know, I think about Audrey's mother. She was on the show a few days ago. A lot of people ask, why didn't she have custody? Why didn't she have custody? Well, money. Money talks, bullshit walks. And she didn't have the money to fight Tabitha, Joshua, and then when Tabitha married Phil. I mean, that's basically how it was explained to me, but I don't know because I wasn't there.
It's touched us all. I mean, what could you do? What if this was your baby?
Tonight, the Livingston community is mourning the death of fifth grader Audrey Cunningham, who disappeared nearly 1 week ago, and divers found her body in the Trinity River yesterday as a family friend has been charged with capital murder.
The community gathered tonight for a vigil to remember Audrey. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry is along Highway 59 tonight, where there's a growing memorial. Bryce?
Daniela and Keith, this is where divers recovered Audrey Cunningham's body yesterday. Tonight you can see balloons, flowers, and teddy bears lining the Trinity Riverbank. Those who loved Audrey and some who never met her have showed up here to pay tribute, all of them grieving her innocent life cut short.
Tell me, what does it look like in heaven? Tonight is just to remember Audrey. Peaceful, is it free like they say?
With purple balloons and flickering candles, the small town of Livingston is holding each other a little tighter, shocked and saddened by the sudden murder of 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham.
I am beyond blessed to be able to give birth to something that she was perfection.
Audrey's mother, Cassie Matthews, barely held back tears as she invited the community to light their candles in her daughter's honor.
Hopefully with all of our candles together, it'll be bright enough, maybe she can see it.
Divers pulled Audrey's remains from the Trinity River Tuesday. The little girl, known to always make a friend and light up a room with her smile, had been missing since last Thursday after failing to get on the bus that morning. Her father's friend and the last person who saw her, 42-year-old Don Stephen McDougal, is now charged with capital murder. Court documents claim investigators found her body tied to a large rock in the river using rope they had seen in his Suburban.
I had to sit down and explain to my 6-year-old and my 10-year-old that she's no longer with us. And I had to explain, she's in heaven. How do you tell them that they're not going to see their friend no more?
The days-long search for Audrey involved volunteers, local, state, and federal law enforcement. It left the community on edge, the outcome leaving a void felt by everyone.
We will not have her walking through our doors anymore, but instead having her walk beside us in faith.
Everybody just remember the good times and know that she's up there looking down on us.
And the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office will determine exactly how little Audrey died. Tonight, the suspect in her murder is being held in the Polk County Jail without bond. We're live along the Trinity River tonight. I'm Bryce Newberry, KPRC 2 News.
Absolutely sick and absolutely sad and preventable, 100%. This wasn't a random stranger. This wasn't someone that hadn't been checked out that she was going to a birthday party or I'm dating myself, okay, a skating party. You know what I mean? He lived right in the backyard. He lived right in the damn backyard. He went on vacations with them. Absolutely sick. More things are coming out in the next few days about Audrey, Stephen McDougal. This is a case that's become very close to my heart. And like Justin said, he didn't always look like that in his mugshot. And remember, the devil has a slick tongue. Hell, we've had bad boyfriends. We've had bosses that grabbed our ass and we came back to work the next day. We know how it goes. But he was pure evil in the backyard. Pure evil in the backyard. Well, you guys, I am going to run off of here. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope, we have a better understanding. I hope everyone has signed the petition for Knight's Law because I think it should be nationwide. I do think that. A lot of people have been reaching out to me about the case of Elijah Vu out of Wisconsin. I need to get with Kat about it. It's got Quentin Simon vibes written all over it. I haven't had a lot of time this week between packing and following the Harmony Montgomery verdict. We've had a lot of stuff coming out the last few days about Michael Vaughn. When I can get to it, trust me, I will. It might be over the weekend. So make sure you hit your reminder. Know that I'm your friend and you're my friend. And I appreciate all of you for being here for the right reasons. You're not here for, the drama and the, look what this one did or that one did. Look at that one. Oh my God. Talking about creators and stuff. I could care less what they do. Could care less. Don't give a shit. But I do give a shit about these cases and each and every one of you. So thank you for being here. And I will see you back here probably over the weekend. If not, Monday morning, I'm revamping Metabolism Monday. You guys are the absolute best, and I will see you shortly.